There is a great truth hidden in plain sight. It is a secret so vast yet so dangerously simple that the majority of mankind overlooks it entirely while searching for complicated answers. We walk through this world believing we are victims of circumstance or pawns in a chaotic game of luck and chance. We look at the events of our lives, the bills piling up, the relationships failing, the health declining, and we believe these things are happening to us from the outside. But I tell you today with absolute certainty that nothing happens to you. Everything happens from you. This is the first and most difficult pill to swallow on the path to freedom. The universe is always listening. But do not mistake the universe for a separate entity living somewhere in the clouds or a reluctant master that you must appease with sacrifices. The universe is not outside of you. It is the very fabric of your being. It is your larger self. Every thought you dwell upon, every word you repeat in the silence of your mind, and most importantly, every feeling you entertain is a direct communication with the infinite. You are never not communicating. Even in your sleep and even in your denial, you are broadcasting a signal. Most people talk to the universe incorrectly, and that is the tragedy of the human experience. They plead, they complain, they beg. They ask as though they were beggars sitting at the gate of a king hoping for a crumb of bread, and then they wonder why nothing changes. They wonder why their prayers bounce off the ceiling and why their lives remain a repetitive cycle of struggle. You must understand the mechanics of this conversation. When you talk to the universe correctly, magic happens. But when you talk to it incorrectly, you create a prison of your own making. The fundamental error lies in the misunderstanding of what the universe actually is. The universe is a giant and impartial mirror. It has no preference for your success or your failure. It has no judgment of good or bad. It only has the law of reflection. If you stand before a mirror and your face is frowning, you cannot demand the reflection to smile. You cannot plead with the mirror. You cannot bribe the mirror. You cannot beg the reflection to change while you remain the same. The mirror has no choice but to reflect exactly what is placed before it. This is exactly how most people pray and set intentions. They look at their bank account and see zero. They feel the panic of poverty. And from that state of panic, they scream out to the universe for money. They say, "I need money," or "Please help me pay this debt." They believe they are asking for help. But the universe, being a faithful mirror, does not hear the words of your plea. It sees the image you are holding. It feels the vibration of your lack. By begging for money, you are confirming that you do not have it. You are affirming your state of poverty. And the universe must reflect that confirmation back to you as more circumstances of lack. This is why the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. It is not a cruel injustice of society alone, but a spiritual law of consciousness. To him who has, more will be given. To him who has not, even what he has will be taken away. This ancient saying is not about material possessions, but about your consciousness of having. Consider the person who wants love. They feel lonely and isolated. They go to sleep every night hugging a pillow and weeping in their solitude. In their mind, they are begging for a partner, but their vibration is screaming loneliness. Their inner conversation is one of rejection. They are telling the universe, "I am alone and I am unwanted." The universe listens perfectly. It says yes to your conviction. It reflects back to you more isolation and more opportunities to feel lonely. You see, the universe does not grant wishes. It mirrors convictions. It does not give you what you want. It gives you what you are. This is the distinction that separates the master from the masses. The master does not ask for what he wants. The master assumes he already is what he desires to be. We live in a world that teaches us to believe only in the evidence of our senses. We are taught that reality is hard and fixed. We are told that if the doctor says it is incurable, then it is incurable. We are told that if the economy is crashing, then we must be poor. We bow down to the idols of facts and statistics. But the awakened soul knows that the world of the senses is the world of effects, not causes. To try to change your life by changing the outer circumstances is like trying to comb the hair of your reflection in the mirror. It is futile and it is exhausting. You must go to the source. The source is your own wonderful human imagination. The source is your internal conversation. Every moment of every day you are conducting an inner dialogue. You are talking to yourself about your boss, your spouse, your money, and your health. You think these thoughts are private. You think they are hidden behind the walls of your skull. But there is no such thing as a private thought. Every inner movement of your mind is a public declaration to the creative forces of life. When you mentally argue with your boss while driving to work, you are writing the script for a future argument. When you mentally replay a past failure, you are revitalizing it and ordering a duplicate experience for your future. You are constantly commanding the universe to bring you more of what you are focusing on. Most people are unaware that they are the authors of their own misery because they do not see the connection between their inner speech and their outer world. The awakening begins when you realize that you are the operant power. You are not a cork bobbing helplessly on the ocean of life. You are the ocean. You are the dreamer and the dream combined. The universe is waiting for you to stop begging and start commanding. But a command in this spiritual language is not a shout. It is not an arrogant demand spoken to the sky. A true command is a quiet and unshakable assumption. It is a transformation of self. It is the audacity to assume you are already the person you wish to be before the world confirms it. The language of the universe is not English or French or any spoken tongue. It is the language of frequency and feeling. It is a language of being. When you change your state of being, the world must change to match you. It has no other option. It is the law. Just as gravity does not care if you are a good person or a bad person, it simply pulls you down. The law of assumption does not care if you deserve your desire or not. It simply externalizes what you are conscious of being. If you are conscious of being a victim, you will manifest victimhood. If you are conscious of being powerful, you will manifest power. So we stand here at the precipice of a new understanding. We are about to discard the old ways of thinking that have kept you small. We are about to stop asking and start claiming. We are going to stop reacting to the world and start creating the world. But to do this effectively, you must master the grammar of this silent language. You must learn how to speak clearly to the infinite. There are secrets to this communication that have been guarded by mystics and sages for centuries. These are not just philosophical ideas. They are practical tools. They are the keys to the kingdom. In the minutes that follow, we will dissect the 6 pillars of this language. We will explore assumption, feeling, imagination, silence, speaking from the end, and the harvest. These are the steps that will take you from being a beggar at the gate to being the master of the house. But first you must make a decision right now in this moment. You must decide that you are done with the old story. You must decide that you are ready to take full responsibility for your reality. You must accept that no one is coming to save you because you are the one you have been waiting for. The power has been in your hands all along. You just forgot how to use it. Now let us remember together. Let us learn how to talk to the universe correctly so that the magic you seek becomes the natural standard of your daily life. We have established that the universe is a mirror and that you are the operant power behind it. Now we must discuss the tool you use to shape this reflection. That tool is the first secret, which we call assumption. This is the crown of the mysteries and the master key to the library of creation. Most people believe that an assumption is merely a guess or a hypothesis that has no basis in fact. In the language of the universe, however, assumption is something far more potent. To assume is to appropriate. To assume is to claim. To assume is to take a specific state of consciousness and wear it as your own identity until it becomes your natural skin. The great tragedy of human behavior is that we live our lives reacting to the visible world. We look at our bank accounts and we assume we are poor. We look at the medical report and we assume we are sick. We look at the silence of a lover and we assume we are rejected. We believe that facts dictate our assumptions. But the spiritual law states the exact opposite. Your assumptions dictate the facts. The world you see around you right now is nothing more than your past assumptions hardened into solid form. The concrete walls of your reality were once fluid thoughts that you persisted in until they froze into the circumstances you now complain about. This is a radical thought, because it removes all blame from the outside world and places the responsibility squarely in your hands. If you wish to change your life, you must begin by disregarding the evidence of your senses. This is the most difficult task for the rational mind, but it is the essential requirement for the miraculous. Your senses are useful for navigating the physical world, but they are terrible masters when it comes to creating your destiny. Your senses will always tell you what is based on the past. They cannot tell you what can be. If you listen to your senses, they will tell you that you are broke, you are lonely, and you are tired. If you accept this report as final, you perpetuate it. You sign a contract with that reality, and the universe stamps it approved and sends you more of the same. To use the law of assumption, you must dare to deny the sensory report. You must withdraw your attention from the problem and place it entirely on the solution. You do not ignore the problem by pretending it does not exist in the physical world. You ignore it by refusing to let it define your internal state. You ask yourself a simple yet profound question. Who would I be if my desire were already a fact? How would I feel? How would I walk? How would I speak to my friends? You must construct this new personality in your imagination, and then you must step into it. You must assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Let us look at the mechanics of this deeply. When you say, "I want to be wealthy," you are confessing that you are not wealthy. The word want implies lack. The universe hears lack and gives you more wanting. But when you assume, you bypass the wanting phase entirely. You move directly to the having phase. You do not wait for the money to appear to feel secure. You assume the feeling of security first. You walk through your day with the inner confidence of a man who has millions in the bank. You look at the price tag, and instead of feeling fear, you feel indifference because you know you can afford it. It happens in your mind first. This inner shift in temperature is what the universe detects. This is not about faking it until you make it. Faking it implies deception. Faking it implies that you know it is a lie and you are just putting on a show for others. Assumption is an act of inner truth. It is a private loyalty to an unseen reality. You are not trying to fool your neighbors. You are rewriting your subconscious program. When you persist in this assumption, the subconscious mind, which controls 95% of your life, begins to believe this new story. It does not know the difference between what is real and what is vividly imagined. Once the subconscious accepts your assumption as true, it moves heaven and earth to make it a fact in your 3D world. It influences your behavior. It inspires you to take the right actions. It causes you to meet the right people. It organizes coincidences that the logical mind cannot explain. Consider the metaphor of an actor. An actor who wishes to play a king does not just put on a crown. He studies the mindset of a king. He assumes the posture of authority. He adopts the tone of command. He thinks from the perspective of royalty. He does not ask the audience, "Am I a king?" He enters the stage as the king, and the audience has no choice but to treat him as one. You are the actor, and your life is the stage. If you are playing the role of the victim, it is because you have assumed that character. You have memorized the script of complaints. You have perfected the posture of defeat. You are so good at this role that you have forgotten it is just a role. The law of assumption invites you to walk off the stage, go into your dressing room, and choose a new character. But be warned. The moment you assume a new state, the old world will try to pull you back. Your senses will scream at you. Your bank account will look the same today as it did yesterday. Your friends may treat you like the old you. This is the test. This is where most people fail. They assume the new state for 10 minutes and then they look in the mirror and say, "It hasn't happened yet," and they crash back into their old assumption. You must understand that there is a time delay. Just as a seed does not become a tree instantly, there is an interval of time between your assumption and its hardening into fact. During this interval, you must remain faithful to your new assumption. You must live in the end. You must continue to wear the feeling of your wish fulfilled, even when the outer world denies it. This persistence is what separates the dreamers from the achievers. The achiever holds the assumption until the world catches up. He ignores the no of the world because he knows the yes of his imagination is more real. He understands that reality is fluid. He knows that his inner conviction is the mold, and the world is just hot wax pouring into that mold. If he holds the mold steady, the wax must take that shape. If he wavers and changes the mold every hour, the wax becomes a shapeless mess. This is why you must be clear and you must be constant. You must stop looking for signs on the outside. The sign that it is working is that you feel natural in your new state. When you no longer feel the desperate need to check if it has happened, that is when you know it is done. When the assumption becomes your habitual dwelling place, it ceases to be a wish and becomes your nature. And once it becomes your nature, it must manifest. It is law. There is no power in the universe that can stop a man or woman who has fully assumed their desire as an accomplished fact. So your work today is to define exactly who you want to be. Do not be vague. Do not just say, I want to be happy. Define it. What does that version of you look like? What does he do in the morning? What is her inner dialogue? Once you have the clear picture, assume it. Step into that body. Look through those eyes. Claim that name. Say to yourself, I am that. Do not say, I will be that. Say, I am that. The present tense is the only tense of creation. God's name is I am, not I will be. When you claim I am healthy, or I am wealthy, or I am loved, you are invoking the creative name of the universe within yourself. You are merging with the state. Do not worry about how it will happen. The how is not your business. The how belongs to the infinite wisdom of the universe, which has ways and means you know not of. Your only job is to uphold the assumption of the end. Your job is to remain loyal to the unseen reality until it puts on the garment of flesh. This is the discipline of the mind. This is the labor of the spirit. It is the hardest work you will ever do, but it pays the highest wages. Assumption is the gateway. It is the first step out of the prison of circumstance. By assuming the best, you are not being delusional. You are waking up. You are remembering that you were never the reflection in the mirror. You were always the one standing before it. Change the assumption and the reflection must change. But an assumption is not just a thought in the brain. It must be fueled by something deeper to truly come alive. It must be electrified. And that leads us to the second secret, which breathes life into your assumption and turns a mental image into a living reality. We have spoken of assumption, which is the molding of the clay, but a mold without substance is empty, and an assumption without life is merely a daydream. This brings us to the second secret, which is the heartbeat of creation, and we call this secret feeling. If assumption is the engine of the car, then feeling is the gasoline. You can have the most beautiful engine in the world, and you can sit in the driver's seat and hold the steering wheel with perfect grip, but if there is no fuel in the tank, you are going nowhere. This is where the vast majority of students fail in their application of the law. They understand the intellectual concept of assuming a new reality, but they remain emotionally dead or frozen in their old states of being. The universe is not moved by mere sound. It is not impressed by the volume of your voice or the repetition of your words. You can stand on a rooftop and shout, I am wealthy, until your voice gives out. But if inside your stomach is churning with the anxiety of debt, the universe will respond to the anxiety and ignore the shout. This is because the universe does not speak English or any human language. The universe speaks the language of vibration, and feeling is the movement of that vibration. Feeling is the true signal that the infinite responds to. It is the gateway through which a thought passes from the invisible realm of imagination into the visible realm of matter. Without feeling, words are lifeless shells drifting into nothingness like dry leaves in the wind. We must make a very critical distinction here, because the word feeling often confuses people. When I say you must feel it real, I am not necessarily talking about high-energy emotions like manic excitement or hysterical joy. Those emotions are fleeting and often exhausting to maintain. The feeling that manifests is something deeper and more stable. It is the feeling of naturalness. It is the feeling of reality. It is the feeling of it is done. Think about the shoes you are wearing right now. Do you feel an explosion of excitement that you own shoes? Probably not. You feel a quiet acceptance that they are yours. You feel the naturalness of possessing them. That specific feeling of acceptance is the power that moves mountains. When you desire something, you usually feel a sense of longing and anxiety. You feel the absence of the thing. But when you finally get what you wanted, the anxiety vanishes and is replaced by a deep sense of relief and satisfaction. That feeling of relief is the secret. If you want to know if you have successfully planted the seed of your desire, monitor your feelings. If you still feel desperate, you have not accepted the end. If you feel relieved, if you feel a quiet thank you rising in your heart, then you have successfully impregnated the subconscious mind. Let us analyze why affirmations often fail for so many people. A person might wake up and say, "I am loved," but inwardly they feel the cold ache of loneliness. They say, "I am successful," but inwardly they feel like a failure. There is a conflict between the thought and the feeling. And in every conflict between thought and feeling, the feeling always wins. Always. You cannot fool the universe because you cannot fool your own subconscious. The subconscious mind is the soil and feeling is the nutrient. If you plant a seed of wealth but you water it with the feeling of poverty, the seed will rot. You must learn to synchronize your words with your emotional center. This requires a level of honesty that most people avoid. You must stop looking at your words and start looking at the way you feel when you speak them. That feeling is the essence of your communication. If you wish to broadcast a new reality, you must first generate the feeling of that reality within your body before the evidence appears. You must ask yourself, how would I feel right now if my prayer were answered? Would you feel light? Would you feel secure? Would you feel proud? You must capture that specific mood and wear it. This is the great secret of the mystics. They do not pray to change God. They pray to change their own feeling state. When you change your feeling, you change your vibration. When you change your vibration, you change the signal you are sending out. And the universe, which is a faithful servant, has no choice but to match that signal with corresponding events. If you are broadcasting the signal of "I am a victim," the universe will perfectly orchestrate events to victimize you further. If you are broadcasting the signal of "I am triumphant," the universe will move obstacles out of your way to ensure your triumph. It is mechanical and it is precise. But how do we generate this feeling when the reality around us is contradictory? How do we feel wealthy when the bills are overdue? This is the test of the master. You must learn to withdraw your attention from the sensory world and place it on your inner reality. You must close your eyes and construct a scene that implies fulfillment. And then this is the key, you must let yourself react to that inner scene emotionally. If you imagine a friend shaking your hand and congratulating you, you must let yourself feel the pride and the gratitude of that moment. You must let the emotion rise up in your chest. You must let it bring a smile to your face. The body does not know the difference between an event experiencing in the outer world and an event experienced vividly in the inner world. If you can make your body vibrate with the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you have tricked the matrix. You have hacked reality. Feeling is the bridge between imagination and reality. It is the glue that binds the spiritual to the physical. Without feeling, your imagination is just a daydream. With feeling, your imagination becomes a workshop of creation. This is why children manifest so quickly and effortlessly. They do not intellectualize their desires. They do not worry about the how. They simply imagine and they feel the joy of the game. They become the astronaut or the princess, and they feel it fully. As adults, we have learned to suppress our feelings. We have learned to be realistic, which is just another word for limited. We must return to the state of the child who dares to feel the reality of the unseen. You must also guard your feelings throughout the day. You cannot do your visualization for 10 minutes in the morning feeling great, and then spend the rest of the 16 hours feeling angry, resentful, and fearful. That is like building a house in the morning and burning it down in the afternoon. Your dominant feeling state is your dwelling place. You must strive to maintain a mood of confidence and gratitude. When a negative thought arises, do not fight it, but do not accept it. Replace it with the feeling of the end. Return to the feeling of relief. Say to yourself, it is okay because it is already done. The practical application of this secret is to catch the mood. Neville Goddard often spoke of catching the mood of the wish fulfilled. Just as you might catch a cold or catch a melody, you must catch the feeling of your success. It might be a subtle feeling at first. It might be a fleeting sense of peace. Hold on to it, nurse it, expand it, let it wash over you until it saturates your mind and body. The more you dwell in this feeling, the more natural it becomes. And once a feeling becomes natural, it creates a belief, and belief creates reality. There is a beautiful feedback loop here. As you practice feeling the end, you will notice that your anxiety decreases. You will stop worrying about when it will happen because you have already experienced it inwardly. You will walk with a different posture. You will speak with a different tone. People will notice a change in you. They might say, "You seem different," or "You seem so calm." They are reacting to your change in vibration. You are no longer reacting to the world. The world is beginning to react to you. So your task regarding this second secret is to become a master of your emotions, not by suppressing them, but by directing them. Do not let your feelings be dictated by the news or the weather or the opinions of others. That is slavery. Be the master of your mood. Choose the feeling you wish to inhabit and refuse to be moved from it. If you want love, practice the feeling of being cherished. If you want health, practice the feeling of vitality. If you want abundance, practice the feeling of overflow. Do this faithfully, and you will see that feeling truly is the secret. It is the fire that cooks the meal. It is the wind that fills the sail. When you combine a clear assumption with a potent feeling, you create a force that nothing on earth can stop. You are no longer just hoping. You are creating. You are sending a clear, coherent, and powerful signal to the formless substance of life, and it must take form. But there is another tool you need to construct the specific scenes that generate these feelings. A tool that allows you to see what is not yet there. This leads us to the third secret, the workshop of the mind where all blueprints are drawn. Before we unlock the third secret, I want to pause for a moment. We are traversing deep waters today, and these truths are not for the faint of heart. They are for the brave souls ready to take command of their destiny. If you are feeling a shift within you right now, if these words are resonating with a truth you've always known but perhaps forgot, I invite you to join our community. Click the subscribe button below. By doing so, you are not just subscribing to a channel, you are affirming your commitment to this path of self-mastery. We explore these mysteries of Neville Goddard and the law of assumption every week. Do not walk this path alone. Join us and let us awaken the giant within you together. Now, let us enter the workshop of the mind. Let us discover the third secret. We have prepared the soil with assumption, and we have watered it with feeling. Now we must plant the seed itself. This brings us to the third secret, which is the workshop of God within you. We call it imagination. There is a widespread misconception in our modern world that imagination is something childish. We tell our children to stop daydreaming and pay attention to the real world. We treat imagination as a place of escape for those who cannot handle reality. But I tell you that this is the greatest lie ever told to humanity. Imagination is not an escape from reality. Imagination is the creator of reality. Look around you right now at the room you are sitting in. Look at the chair, the table, the phone, or the computer screen. Before any of these objects existed as solid matter, they existed as an image in the mind of a human being. Someone had to imagine the chair before they could build it. Someone had to imagine the technology before they could invent it. Everything you see in the physical world is simply frozen imagination. To talk to the universe correctly, you must understand that your imagination is the actual voice of your spirit. When you imagine, you are not just playing movies in your head. You are writing the code of your future. You are engaging in a sacred dialogue with the infinite. The universe does not judge your imagined scenes as true or false. It simply accepts them as blueprints for construction. If you constantly imagine worst-case scenarios, if you play mental movies of arguments, failures, and accidents, you are handing the universe a blueprint for disaster. And the universe, being a faithful builder, will construct that disaster for you. Most people are unconscious architects building prisons for themselves out of their own fearful thoughts. The secret to mastering this power lies in the specific technique of how you use your imagination. This is where the distinction between daydreaming and creative visualization becomes critical. Most people daydream in the third person. They see themselves in the movie like they are watching an actor on a screen. They see themselves driving the new car. They see themselves walking on the beach. This is a fatal error. When you see yourself in the picture, you are dissociating from the experience. You are telling the universe, I am watching that person over there have success. You are creating separation. To communicate with the infinite, you must step into the picture. You must occupy the state. You must not see yourself. You must see as yourself. You must look through your own eyes. Do not see yourself holding the steering wheel of your dream car. See the steering wheel in front of you. See your own hands gripping the leather. Do not see yourself shaking hands with a business partner. See the partner's face in front of you and see your hand reaching out to meet theirs. This shift from third-person spectator to first-person participant is the key that unlocks the door. When you imagine in the first person, you are telling the subconscious mind, I am experiencing this now. And the subconscious mind, which controls the manifestation of your reality, accepts this as a present fact. Furthermore, your imagination must be sensory. It is not enough to just see a vague image. You must bring the tones of reality into your mental act. What does it smell like? What does it feel like to the touch? If you are imagining a new home, in your mind's eye, reach out and touch the wall. Feel the texture of the paint. Is it rough or smooth? Is it cold or warm? Listen for the sounds of the neighborhood. Smell the coffee brewing in the kitchen. The more sensory detail you add, the more real the scene becomes. These sensory details are the anchors that hold the ship of your imagination in the harbor of fulfillment. They convince the deeper mind that this is not a fantasy, but a memory of an event that has already taken place. Neville Goddard taught us that we must go to the end. We do not imagine the process. We do not imagine how we will get the money or how we will meet the person. We imagine the end result. We imagine the scene that implies the wish is already fulfilled. For example, if you want a promotion, do not imagine working hard. Imagine your colleagues congratulating you on the promotion. Construct a short scene that implies it is done. Maybe it is a handshake. Maybe it is a voice on the telephone. Keep it short and keep it simple. Then replay this scene over and over again in your imagination until it takes on the feeling of reality. This practice requires discipline because the unruly mind loves to wander. You will try to focus on your scene and your mind will jump to your grocery list or your worries about tomorrow. You must be like a patient shepherd. Every time your sheep wander off, guide them gently back to the pasture. Bring your mind back to the scene. Replay it. Give it life. Do this until you feel a sense of satisfaction. Do this until the imaginary act feels just as real as the physical room you are sitting in. There is a moment in deep visualization where the outer world fades away and the inner world becomes the only reality. In that moment, you have successfully planted the seed. You have impregnated the universe with your desire. Do not underestimate the power of these inner conversations. We are constantly talking to ourselves, and these inner conversations are the breeding ground of our future. If you want to change your life, you must change your inner speech and your inner imagery. You cannot imagine failure and expect success. You cannot imagine sickness and expect health. It is a law as exact as chemistry. If you mix hydrogen and oxygen, you get water. If you mix imagination and feeling, you get reality. You are always creating. You are always imagining. The question is not whether you will use this power. The question is whether you will use it consciously to build a paradise or unconsciously to build a hell. There is a beautiful mystery here. When you enter your imagination and dwell in the state of the wish fulfilled, you are actually traveling in time. You are visiting the future and pulling it into the present. You are making the then into the here and the future into the now. The universe knows no time. It only knows the eternal, now. By experiencing your desire in your imagination right now, you are collapsing the timeline. You are aligning yourself with a version of reality that already exists in the vast quantum field of possibilities. Many will say this is delusion. They will say you are losing touch with reality. But history proves that every great man and woman who ever achieved anything impossible was considered delusional at first. The visionaries, the inventors, the leaders, they all saw something in their imagination that the rest of the world could not see. And because they remained faithful to that inner vision, the world eventually had to reshape itself to match it. You are a visionary of your own life. Do not let the skeptics or the realists dim your inner light. Their reality is limited by what they see. Your reality is limited only by what you can imagine. Your imagination is the workshop of God. It is the Holy of Holies where you meet the Creator. Treat it with reverence. Do not pollute it with images of violence, fear, or lack. Curate your mind like a museum. Only allow masterpieces to hang on the walls of your mental gallery. If a negative image tries to enter, prune it immediately. Use the pruning shears of revision. Rewrite the scene. If you have a bad interaction with someone today, rewrite it in your imagination tonight. Imagine that the conversation went well. Imagine they were kind. By doing this, you are altering the cause, and you will see the effect change in the future. This third secret is the bridge between the unmanifest and the manifest. It is the tool by which you carve your destiny out of the raw substance of the universe. But once the carving is done, once the seed is planted in the soil of imagination, there is a crucial step that must follow, a step that requires you to stop the doing and enter the being, a step that contradicts our obsession with busyness. This leads us to the fourth secret, a secret that is found only in the quietest corners of your soul. We have now planted the seed in the fertile soil of consciousness using assumption, feeling, and imagination. The work of creation is technically finished, but there is a period of time between the sowing of the seed and the reaping of the harvest. This is the most dangerous period for the uninitiated because it is here that the ego likes to intervene. To navigate this interval successfully, you must master the fourth secret, which is silence. In our modern world, we are addicted to noise. We equate noise with power and activity with progress. We believe that if we are not talking, posting, or explaining ourselves, then we are not existing. But in the metaphysics of the universe, silence is not emptiness. Silence is the container of power. It is the pressure chamber where the steam builds up to move the engine. If you open the valve too early, the steam escapes and the engine creates no movement. The ancient texts advise us that when we pray, we should enter our closet and shut the door. This instruction has nothing to do with a physical room filled with clothes. The closet is the sanctuary of your own mind. To shut the door is to close your senses to the noise of the outside world. It means you must stop looking for validation from others. One of the most common mistakes people make when they discover these laws is that they run out and tell everyone their plans. They say, "I'm going to be a millionaire," or "I'm going to be healed." They share their tender new dreams with cynical friends or doubting family members, and in doing so, they dissipate their power. You must understand that a desire which is spoken of too freely is often a desire that is not fully believed. When you truly know something is yours, you do not feel the need to broadcast it for approval. You simply possess it. When you speak your dreams to those who do not understand the law, you invite their doubt into your consciousness. They will ask you realistic questions. They will point out the obstacles. They will laugh at your ambition. And because your seed is still tender, their doubt can easily crush your faith. You must learn to keep your secret. There is a sacred power in secrecy. By keeping your dream contained within your own heart, you build a spiritual pressure. You nurture the energy that would otherwise be wasted on idle chatter. This energy is what fuels the manifestation. This silence also requires you to withdraw your attention from the contradictory evidence of your senses. Your senses will scream at you that nothing has changed. Your eyes will see the same old problems. Your ears will hear the same old complaints. The fourth secret demands that you learn to walk through the world without reacting to it. You become like a deep ocean. On the surface, there may be storms and waves crashing. The circumstances of your life may be chaotic. But deep down in the depths of the ocean, there is total silence and stillness. Nothing disturbs the deep. You must live from that depth. When a problem arises, you retreat into your inner sanctuary. You remind yourself of the truth you saw in your imagination. You remain silent in the face of the storm, because you know the storm is just a passing shadow. This practice of silence creates a vacuum in the universe. Nature abhors a vacuum and rushes to fill it. When you stop complaining, stop explaining, and stop begging, you create a space for the new reality to enter. Your silence is a form of magnetic listening. You are listening for the guidance of your higher self. You are listening for the subtle, intuitive nudges that will lead you to the right action. You cannot hear this guidance if you are constantly talking or worrying. There is a profound strength in the person who does not need to defend their position. The world is used to people who are loud and insecure. When you stand in your silent conviction, you become an anomaly. You become a force of nature. People will feel your power even if you say nothing. They will respect the mystery of your confidence. This is because you are vibrating at the frequency of the finished result. You are not trying to become, you are being, and being requires no noise. This silence also requires you to withdraw your attention from the contradictory evidence of your senses. Your senses will scream at you that nothing has changed. Your eyes will see the same old problems. Your ears will hear the same old complaints. The fourth secret demands that you learn to walk through the world without reacting to it. You become like a deep ocean. On the surface there may be storms and waves crashing. The circumstances of your life may be chaotic. But deep down in the depths of the ocean there is total silence and stillness. Nothing disturbs the deep. You must live from that depth. When a problem arises, you retreat into your inner sanctuary. You remind yourself of the truth you saw in your imagination. You remain silent in the face of the storm because you know the storm is just a passing shadow. This practice of silence creates a vacuum in the universe. Nature abhors a vacuum and rushes to fill it. When you stop complaining, stop explaining, and stop begging, you create a space for the new reality to enter. Your silence is a form of magnetic listening. You are listening for the guidance of your higher self. You are listening for the subtle, intuitive nudges that will lead you to the right action. You cannot hear this guidance if you are constantly talking or worrying. There is a profound strength in the person who does not need to defend their position. The world is used to people who are loud and insecure. When you stand in your silent conviction, you become an anomaly. You become a force of nature. People will feel your power even if you say nothing. They will respect the mystery of your confidence. This is because you are vibrating at the frequency of the finished result. You are not trying to become, you are being. And being requires no noise. So your task for the fourth secret is to practice the art of containment. Seal your lips regarding your greatest desires. Do not cast your pearls before swine. Cherish your vision in the holy sanctuary of your heart. And monitor your inner world. When the noise of doubt starts to rise, breathe into it and command silence. Return to the feeling of the end. Rest in the certainty that what you have planted is growing and that the universe is moving mountains to bring it to you. Silence is not weakness. It is the ultimate display of faith. It is the ability to stand still and see the salvation of your own consciousness. It is the transition point where you stop acting like a human trying to be a god and start acting like the god who is having a human experience. By mastering silence, you stop the leakage of your creative power. You harness it, you direct it, and you allow the bridge of incidents to unfold naturally without your frantic interference. As you dwell in this silence, you will notice something miraculous. The anxiety fades. The need to control every little detail vanishes. You begin to float on the river of life rather than swimming upstream against it. You realize that the battle is not yours to fight. The battle is already won in the imagination. The silence is simply your acceptance of the victory before the trophy is handed to you. Now that we have established the power of silence, we must learn how to navigate the final aspect of our communication. We must learn how to interact with the world while we wait for the harvest. We must learn a new way of speaking that aligns with our new identity. This leads us to the fifth secret, which transforms your daily language into a tool of prophecy. We have gathered the silence and we have planted the seed. Now we must learn how to live in the world while the seed germinates. This brings us to the fifth secret, which is the most critical shift in your consciousness. We call it speaking from the end. This is the precise point where most people disconnect from their power. They practice visualization in the morning, but then they spend the rest of the day speaking as though they are still waiting for the result. They separate themselves from their desire. They put their desire on a pedestal and worship it from afar. They say, I hope I will be wealthy one day, or I wish I had that relationship. You must understand the fatal error in this mode of speech. When you think of your desire, you are looking at it as something separate from you. You are here and it is over there. There is a distance between you. And because time is simply a measurement of distance, calling something future guarantees that it remains in the future. As long as you are trying to get to the end, you will never arrive because you are perpetually on the journey. To manifest effectively, you must collapse the distance. You must stop thinking of the end and start thinking from the end. Thinking from the end means you mentally position yourself at the finish line. You look back at the world from the perspective of the person who has already achieved the goal. You do not ask, how will I get there? You assume, I am here. This is a radical shift in identity. It changes the way you speak to yourself and the way you speak to the universe. The language of the beggar is I will. The language of the master is I am. Let us analyze the metaphysics of I will. When you say I will be happy or I will be rich, you are admitting that you are not happy and you are not rich right now. You are validating your current lack. The universe is a mirror that reflects the present moment. If your present vibration is I will, the universe reflects back a state of always waiting. It keeps the carrot dangling in front of the donkey, but the donkey never reaches it. Tomorrow is the greatest thief of your dreams because tomorrow never comes. It is always today. Therefore, you must bring your future into the present tense. You must dare to say I am, even when your senses deny it, even when the world laughs at you. You must claim your identity now. Instead of saying, I want to be a leader, you begin to speak to yourself as a leader. You say, I am a leader. You ask yourself, how does a leader speak? How does a leader walk? How does a leader react to this problem? And then you adopt that behavior immediately. You do not wait for the promotion to act like the boss. You become the boss internally, and the promotion follows as a natural consequence. This is the secret of the great method actors. An actor does not pretend to be the character while secretly believing he is still himself. He abandons his old self completely. He adopts the memories, the speech patterns, and the feelings of the character. He speaks from the perspective of the character. If he is playing a king, he does not look at the throne and hope to sit on it. He sits on it and looks down at his subjects. He assumes the authority. You must become the method actor of your own life. You must step into the skin of your wish fulfilled. The most important aspect of this secret is your inner conversation. We are constantly talking to ourselves. Scientists say we have thousands of thoughts a day, and most of them are internal dialogues. This inner speech is the creative force of your life. If you want to know why your life is the way it is, listen to what you are muttering to yourself when you are driving, showering, or walking. Are you arguing with people? Are you complaining about the economy? Are you rehearsing failures? If you are doing these things, you are speaking from the state of the victim. You are commanding the universe to keep you small. To speak from the end, you must rewrite these inner scripts. You must start having inner conversations that imply your success. Imagine a friend congratulating you. Hear their voice clearly in your mind. And then this is the key reply to them in your mind. Hear yourself saying, thank you, it is wonderful, isn't it? Or I am so leveraged for this opportunity. By participating in this inner dialogue, you are anchoring yourself in the new reality. You are making the invisible visible. This requires a type of spiritual courage that few possess. It requires you to be what the world calls delusional. When your bank account is empty and you walk around with the inner assurance of wealth, the world will call you crazy. But you must understand that this craziness is the method of the genius. The visionary sees what others cannot see. You must be willing to ignore the facts of the present moment in favor of the truth of your imagination. You must understand that facts are just temporary arrangements of matter, while a person who is trying to become wealthy reacts to a bill with fear. A person who is already wealthy reacts to a bill with indifference or creates a plan to pay it. The reaction reveals the state. If you want to test if you are truly speaking from the end, watch your reactions. Do you react with the anxiety of the seeker or the calm of the owner? The owner is not desperate. The owner is not frantic. The owner knows that the asset belongs to him. This fifth secret is about commanding your reality. A command is not a shout, it is a settling. It is a decision. When you say, I am healthy, you are not asking for permission. You are stating a fact of your consciousness. And because consciousness is the only reality, the physical body must eventually align with that statement. It might not happen in a second, but the process begins the moment the statement is accepted as true. Do not be afraid of the time lag. When you speak from the end and the outer world does not change immediately, do not revert to the old language. Do not say, "See, it didn't work." That statement alone cancels the seed. You must persist in your new language. You must be like the captain of a ship who turns the wheel. The ship is huge and heavy. It takes time to turn, but the captain knows that once the rudder is set, the ship will inevitably change course. Your inner speech is the rudder. Keep it turned toward your desire. Do not straighten it out just because the horizon looks the same for a few minutes. Speaking from the end is also an act of gratitude. Instead of asking, "Please give me this," you switch to, "Thank you for this." Gratitude is the ultimate expression of the wish fulfilled. You only say thank you when you have received a gift. Therefore, saying thank you before the gift arrives is the most powerful way to tell the universe, "I have received it." It creates a magnetic pull. It signifies that the transaction is complete in the spiritual realm. And what is complete in the spirit must manifest in the flesh. So, your practice for this secret is to monitor your tense. Eliminate "I hope," "I wish," and "I will" from your vocabulary when it comes to your desires. Replace them with "I am," "I have," and "I thank." Walk through your house and mentally touch objects that imply your success. Speak to your invisible guests. Conduct mental business meetings where you are the CEO. Rehearse your acceptance speech. Live in the mental atmosphere of the end. When you do this, you are no longer a beggar at the gate. You are the king on the throne. You are not waiting for life to happen to you. You are happening to life. You are projecting your assumption outward, and the world is simply the screen upon which your movie is playing. If you don't like the movie, change the script. And the script is your inner speech. This leads us to the final piece of the puzzle. Once you have assumed, felt, imagined, kept silent, and spoken from the end, what is left to do? Is there any physical action required? Do you need to force the doors open, or is there a different way? A way of trust and natural unfolding. This leads us to the sixth secret, the culmination of all your efforts, where we learn to trust the bridge of incidents and accept the inevitable harvest. We have arrived at the final pillar of this sacred architecture. We have assumed the state. We have fueled it with feeling. We have constructed it in imagination. We have nurtured it in silence. And we have claimed it by speaking from the end. Now we face the ultimate test of faith, which we call the sixth secret. It is the secret of the harvest. This is the stage where the inner reality begins to clothe itself in outer facts. It is the stage of materialization. But it is also the stage where 90% of people fail because they do not understand the nature of the interval between the planting and the reaping. They expect instant magic, and when they do not see it, they abort the birth of their own desire. You must understand that the law of assumption operates by the same principles as the laws of nature. As within, so without, means that the spiritual world follows the same patterns as the biological world. When a farmer plants a seed of corn, he does not expect to harvest it the next morning. He understands that the seed has its own appointed hour. It has a gestation period. A baby takes 9 months to form in the womb. A bamboo tree takes 5 years of watering before it breaks the ground. Your desire also has its own natural time of development. Once you have successfully impregnated your subconscious mind with the feeling of the wish fulfilled, the gestation period begins. During this interval, you may not see any physical evidence that your desire is coming. In fact, you may see the exact opposite. This is a critical point that you must sear into your memory. The path to your desire is rarely a straight line. It is what Neville Goddard called a bridge of incidents. This bridge is a series of events that the universe constructs to take you from where you are to where you want to be. You walk across this bridge, often without knowing you are on it. And sometimes the bridge looks like a disaster. Let us say you have assumed the feeling of great wealth. You have done your imaginal acts faithfully. You feel the relief of financial freedom. And then 3 days later you are fired from your job. The unawakened mind will scream in panic. It will say, "This is not working. I am getting poorer. The law is a lie." They react with fear, and by doing so, they step off the bridge. They do not realize that losing that small job was the necessary first step to force them into starting the business that would bring the great wealth they imagined. The universe had to clear the old furniture to make room for the new. You must learn to trust the bridge of incidents. You must stop judging the events of your day as good or bad. You do not know the full picture. You only see the thread you are holding, but the universe sees the entire tapestry. What looks like a setback is often a setup for a comeback. What looks like a delay is often a divine detour to avoid a cliff. When you have spoken from the end, your only job is to remain calm and keep walking. You must develop a holy indifference to the how. The how is not your responsibility. The how belongs to the infinite wisdom that governs the stars. If you try to force the how, you will only create resistance. This brings us to the question of action. People always ask, do I just sit on the couch and wait? The answer is subtle. You do not force action, but you will be moved to act. When you are living in the end, you will find yourself inspired to do certain things. You might feel a sudden urge to call an old friend. You might feel a pull to walk down a specific street. You might feel inspired to read a certain book. This is called inspired action. It does not feel like hard work. It feels like flow. It feels natural. It is the universe moving your physical body to be in the right place at the right time. Contrast this with forced action. Forced action comes from fear. It comes from the belief that if I don't do this, it won't happen. It feels heavy. It feels anxious. It is you trying to manipulate the outside world. The harvest comes to those who trust the flow of inspired action and reject the anxiety of forced action. You move when you are moved, you speak when you are urged, and you trust that even your mistakes are being woven into the plan. The harvest is also inevitable. It is not a reward for good behavior, it is a consequence of law. Galatians tells us, do not be deceived, God is not mocked. For whatever a man sows, that he will also reap. This is not a threat. It is a promise. It means the universe is a precision machine. It cannot give you strawberries if you planted lemons. It cannot give you poverty if you have truly planted and sustained the feeling of wealth. It has no choice. The universe must externalize your inner state. It is under compulsion to do so. Therefore, you can relax. You can stop checking the soil every 5 minutes. The anxiety of when will it come implies that you fear it might not come. You must replace that anxiety with the deep knowing of the harvest. Think of ordering a package online. Once you click order and receive the confirmation number, you do not pace around your house worrying if the warehouse exists. You know it is coming. You go about your life. You prepare a place for the item. You are in a state of expectancy but not anxiety. That is the exact state you must maintain for your manifestation. Do not dig up your seed with doubt. Every time you say, it's not here yet, you are digging up the seed to look at it and you delay the harvest. Every time you complain to a friend that this stuff doesn't work, you are pouring poison on the soil. You must be a disciplined gardener. If a weed of doubt springs up, pull it out immediately. Do not analyze the weed. Do not argue with the weed. Just pull it out and refocus your attention on the flower you desire. The harvest requires you to persist. Persistence is not stubbornness. Persistence is loyalty. It is loyalty to the unseen reality. You must be loyal to your assumption even when the world denies it. You must be like the captain of a ship in a thick fog. He cannot see the port, but he knows his compass is true. He does not turn the ship around just because he cannot see the shore. He holds the course. Your feeling is your compass. If you hold the feeling of the end, you will arrive. It is impossible to fail unless you quit. And when the harvest comes, and it will come, it often happens so naturally that you might mistake it for coincidence. You might say, oh, that would have happened anyway. This is the camouflage of the universe. It weaves your desire into the natural fabric of reality so seamlessly that it doesn't look like a miracle. It looks like life. But you will know. You will look back at the bridge of incidents, and you will see the invisible hand that guided every step. You will see that the job loss, the chance meeting, the delayed flight, the wrong turn, they were all perfect stepping stones leading you to your goal. So in this final stage, your work is to rest. Not the rest of laziness, but the rest of confidence, the Sabbath of the mind. It is the deep inner peace that comes from knowing. It is finished. You have done the work in consciousness, and now you let the screen of space wait upon you to display the picture. Do not struggle, do not strive, do not beg. The seed is in the ground, the clouds are gathering, the rain will fall, and the crop will rise. You are the operant power, you are the sower, and you are the reaper. There is no one to stop you but yourself. There is no destiny that can block you. There is no fate that can hinder you. You are the architect of your world. Rise up and accept your harvest. It is your birthright. It is your creation. And it is waiting for you to simply acknowledge that it is already done. This concludes the 6 secrets. You now hold the keys to the language of the universe. The only question remaining is not if it works, but if you will work it. The knowledge is useless without application. The power is latent until it is exercised. You stand at the door of a new life. The door is unlocked. Push it open and walk through. The greatest tragedy in life is not that we do not have the power, but that we forget we have it. We fall into the amnesia of the routine. We let the news, the economy, and the opinions of others dictate our internal weather. But today you are making a covenant with yourself. You are promising that you will no longer be a thermometer that simply reflects the temperature of the room. You will be the thermostat that sets the temperature. You will no longer accept the reflection in the mirror as the final truth. You will change the face you present to the mirror. This requires vigilance. It requires a daily dedication to your own mental garden. You must stand guard at the door of your mind and reject every thought that suggests you are less than divine. This is why we have built this channel. This is not just a collection of videos. This is a sanctuary for the awakened. It is a university of the soul where we remind each other of who we truly are. The world out there is designed to keep you asleep. It is designed to make you feel small, afraid, and dependent. But here in this community, we fan the flames of your greatness. We speak the language of the universe. We hold the vision of your success even when you might be tempted to doubt it yourself. By joining this community, you are not just clicking a button. You are planting a flag in the soil of your future. You are surrounding yourself with a digital environment that reinforces your new identity. If you have felt a shift within you during this video, then do not let that feeling fade. Capture it. Anchor it. Click the subscribe button below, not as a favor to me, but as a commitment to yourself. Turn on the notifications so that you are constantly reminded of the truth amidst the noise of the lies. Share this video with a friend who is struggling in the darkness. Be the lighthouse for someone else. You do not know how much a single share can change a destiny. When you lift others up, you are lifted up. When you teach the law, you learn the law. Let us build a legion of conscious creators who are ready to reshape this world, not with force, but with consciousness. The greatest tragedy in life is not that we do not have the power, but that we forget we have it. We fall into the amnesia of the routine. We let the news, the economy, and the opinions of others dictate our internal weather. But today you are making a covenant with yourself. You are promising that you will no longer be a thermometer that simply reflects the temperature of the room. You will be the thermostat that sets the temperature. You will no longer accept the reflection in the mirror as the final truth. You will change the face you present to the mirror. This requires vigilance. It requires a daily dedication to your own mental garden. You must stand guard at the door of your mind and reject every thought that suggests you are less than divine. This is why we have built this channel. This is not just a collection of videos. This is a sanctuary for the awakened. It is a university of the soul where we remind each other of who we truly are. The world out there is designed to keep you asleep. It is designed to make you feel small, afraid, and dependent. But here in this community, we fan the flames of your greatness. We speak the language of the universe. We hold the vision of your success, even when you might be tempted to doubt it yourself. By joining this community, you are not just clicking a button. You are planting a flag in the soil of your future. You are surrounding yourself with a digital environment that reinforces your new identity. If you have felt a shift within you during this video, then do not let that feeling fade. Capture it. Anchor it. Click the subscribe button below, not as a favor to me, but as a commitment to yourself. Turn on the notifications so that you are constantly reminded of the truth amidst the noise of the lies. Share this video with a friend who is struggling in the darkness. Be the lighthouse for someone else. You do not know how much a single share can change a destiny. When you lift others up, you are lifted up. When you teach the law, you learn the law. Let us build a legion of conscious creators who are ready to reshape this world not with force, but with consciousness. As you go forth from this moment, remember that you are the operant power. There is no one to blame and there is no one to change but self. Do not waste your energy fighting the shadows on the screen. Go back to the projector. Change the film reel in your imagination. If you do not like your life, assume a new one. If you do not like your health, imagine vitality. If you do not like your bank account, feel the relief of abundance. Test this law. I challenge you. Do not just believe me blindly. Prove it to yourself. Pick a goal. Apply these 6 secrets with radical intensity for 30 days. Watch what happens. Watch how the unlikeliest of events conspire to aid you. Watch how the locked doors swing open. You are not a body that has a soul. You are a soul that has a body. You are a center of divine activity. The universe is not something that is happening to you. It is something that is responding to you. It is waiting for your command. It is listening to your feeling. It is watching your imagination. Give it something beautiful to reflect. Give it a vision of magnificence. Give it a feeling of love and gratitude. Stop waiting for the permission of the world to be great. Give yourself permission. Crown yourself in your own imagination, and the world will have no choice but to bow. The time of the beggar is over. The time of the Creator has begun. You have the tools, you have the knowledge, and now you have the community. The only variable left is your persistence. Will you dare to walk by faith and not by sight? Will you dare to live in the end before the beginning has even shown its face? I believe you will, because deep down you know that you were born for this. You were born to rule your own mind. You were born to manifest the glory that was placed within you before the foundations of the world. So take a deep breath. Feel the power coursing through your veins. It is real. It is yours. The bridge of incidence is forming beneath your feet right now. Step out onto it with courage. Walk with the stride of a king or a queen. Speak with the tone of one who knows, and rest in the deep silence of the harvest that is already yours. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of your journey today. Thank you for your trust, and thank you for the miracle that you are about to become. I will see you in the next video, where we will go even deeper into the mystery. Until then, keep your assumption high, keep your feeling deep, and always, always live in the end. It is done.